Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me through the Bible in chronological order. We are in Joshua chapter 16 today. The allotment for the descendants of Joseph went from the Jordan at Jericho to the waters of Jericho on the east, through the wilderness ascending from Jericho into the hill country of Bethel. From Bethel it went to Luz and proceeded to the border of the Arkites by Ataroth. It then descended westward to the border of the Japhilites, as far as the border of Lower Beth Horon, then to Gezer, and ended at the Mediterranean Sea. So Ephraim and Manasseh, the sons of Joseph, received their portions. This was the territory of the descendants of Ephraim by their clans. The border of their inheritance went from Ataroth Adar on the east to the upper Beth Horon. In the north, the border went westward from Mechmithah. It turned eastward from Tanath Shiloh and passed it east of Genoa. From Genoa, it descended to Ataroth and Nerah, and then reached Jericho and went to the Jordan. From Tapua, the border went westward along the brook of Cana and ended at the Mediterranean Sea. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the descendants of Ephraim by their clans, together with the city set apart for the descendants of Ephraim, within the inheritance of the descendants of Manasseh, all these cities with their settlements. However, they did not drive out the Canaanites who lived in Gezer, so the Canaanites still live in Ephraim today, but they are forced laborers. Joshua 17. This was the allotment for the tribe of Manasseh as Joseph's firstborn. Gilead and Bashan were given to Machir, the firstborn of Manasseh, and the father of Gilead, because he was a man of war. So the allotment was for the rest of Manasseh's descendants by their clans, for the sons of Abiezer, Helek, Asriel, Shechem, Hefer, and Shemida. These are the male descendants of Manasseh, son of Joseph, by their clans. Now Zelophehad, son of Hefer, son of Gilead, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, had no sons, only daughters. And these are the names of his daughters: Mahlah, Noah, Haglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. They came before the priest Eleazar, Joshua son of Nun, and the leaders, saying, "The Lord commanded Moses to give us an inheritance among our male relatives." And so they gave them an inheritance among their father's brothers in keeping with the Lord's instruction. As a result, 10 tracts fell to Manasseh, besides the land of Gilead and Bashan, which are beyond the Jordan, because Manasseh's daughters received an inheritance among his sons. The land of Gilead belonged to the rest of Manasseh's sons. The border of Manasseh went from Asher to Mechmethah near Shechem. It then went southward toward the inhabitants of Entupah. The region of Tapua belonged to Manasseh, but Tapua itself on Manasseh's border belonged to the descendants of Ephraim. From there, the border descended to the brook of Cana. South of the brook, cities belonged to Ephraim along Manasseh's cities. Manasseh's border was on the north side of the brook and ended at the Mediterranean Sea. Ephraim's territory was to the south and Manasseh's to the north, with the sea as its border. They reached Asher on the north and Issachar on the east. Within Issachar and Asher, Manasseh had Bethshean, Iblaim, and the inhabitants of Dor with their surrounding villages, the inhabitants of Endor, Tanakh, and Megiddo, the 3 cities of Naphath with their surrounding villages. The descendants of Manasseh could not possess these cities, because the Canaanites were determined to stay in this land. However, when the Israelites grew stronger, they imposed forced labor on the Canaanites, but did not drive them out completely. Joseph's descendants said to Joshua, "Why did you give us only one tribal allotment as an inheritance? We have many people because the Lord has been blessing us greatly." "If you have so many people," Joshua replied to them, "go to the forest and clear an area for yourselves there in the land of the Perizzites and the Rephaim, because Ephraim's hill country is too small for you." But the descendants of Joseph said, "The hill country is not enough for us, and all the Canaanites who inhabit the valley area have iron chariots, both at Bethshean and its surrounding villages, and in the Jezreel valley." So Joshua replied to Joseph's family, that is Ephraim and Manasseh, "You have many people and great strength. You will not have just one allotment, because the hill country will be yours also. It is a forest. Clear it, and its outlying areas will be yours. You can also drive out the Canaanites, even though they have iron chariots and are strong." So the entire Israelite community assembled at Shiloh and set up the tent of meeting there. The land had been subdued before them, but 7 tribes among the Israelites were left who had not divided up their inheritance. So Joshua asked the Israelites, "How long will you delay going out to take possession of the land that the Lord, the God of your ancestors, gave you? Appoint for yourselves 3 men from each tribe, and I will send them out. They are to go and survey the land, write a description of it for the purpose of their inheritance, and return to me. Then they are to divide it into 7 portions. Judah is to remain in its territory in the south, and Joseph's family in the territory to the north. When you have written a description of the 7 portions of land and brought it to me, I will cast lots for you here in the presence of the Lord our God. But the Levites among you do not get a portion, because the inheritance is the priesthood of the Lord. Gad, Reuben, and half the tribe of Manasseh have taken their inheritance beyond the Jordan to the east, which Moses, the Lord's servant, gave them." As the men prepared to go, Joshua commanded them to write down a description of the land, saying, "Go and survey the land, write a description of it, and return to me. I will then cast lots for you here in Shiloh in the presence of the Lord." So the men left, went through the land, and described it by towns in a document of 7 sections. They returned to Joshua at the camp in Shiloh. Joshua cast lots for them at Shiloh in the presence of the Lord, where he distributed the land to the Israelites according to their divisions. The lot came up for the tribe of Benjamin's descendants by their clans, and their allotted territory lay between Judah's descendants and Joseph's. Their border on the north side began at the Jordan, ascended to the slope of Jericho on the north, through the hill country westward, and ended at the wilderness around Beth-aven. From there the border went toward Luz, to the southern slope of Luz, that is Bethel. It went then down by Ataroth Ador, over the hill south of Lower Beth Horon. On the west side, from the hill facing Beth Horon on the south, the border curved, turning southward, and ended at Kiriath Baal, that is, Kiriath Jearim, a city of the descendants of Judah. This was the west side of their border. The south side began at the edge of Kiriath Jearim, and the border extended westward. It went to the spring at the waters of Nephtoah. The border descended to the foot of the hill that faces Ben Hinnom Valley at the northern end of Rephaim Valley. It ran down Hinnom Valley toward the south, Jebusite slope, and downward to En Rogel. It curved northward and went to En Shemesh and on to Gileath, which is opposite the ascent of Adumim, and continued down to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuben. Then it went north to the slope opposite the Arabah and proceeded into the plains. The border continued to the north slope of Beth Hagla and ended at the northern bay of the Dead Sea, at the southernmost end of the Jordan. This was the southern border. The Jordan formed the border on the east side. This was the inheritance of Benjamin's descendants by their clans, according to the surrounding cities. These are the cities of the tribe of Benjamin's descendants by their clans: Jericho, Beth Hagla, Emekizah, Beth Arabah, Zemaraim, Bethel, Avim, Parah, Ophrah, Shephar, Ammoni, Ophni, and Geba, 12 cities with their settlements. Gibeon, Ramah, Beeroth, Mizpah, Shepharah, Moza, Rakim, Irpiel, Teralah, Zelah, Halef, Jebus, that is Jerusalem, Gibeah, and Kiriath, 14 cities with their settlements. And this was the inheritance for Benjamin's descendants by their clans. So we continue again with the allotment assignments, and most of Joshua is going to be just that. That was his assignment. One thing to note is that several times in our reading we've noticed, "and it is with us to this day." That repeated statement by the writing in the book of Joshua suggests that the author of the book, perhaps not Joshua himself, was a prophet who collected this information and wrote it at a later date than the events themselves are taking place. That should not be shocking, since the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, are all written later than the life of Jesus. They are not written concurrently with his life. They are written after his life. And so Joshua 2 seems to suggest that it was the end of the generation of Joshua, perhaps even beginning in the next generation to this day, suggesting that. And the point being just merely that the record of this inclusion in the book was for their legal purposes as a nation in securing the land. Join me again for another reading through the Bible in chronological order tomorrow.